Want a sweater that's cozy, cropped, and totally customizable? This half-zip mock neck has you covered, and best of all, it's a beginner-friendly quick workup. Hey guys, I'm T, maker of 600 plus crochet patterns and tutorials. Welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is everyday comfort with a polished finish. We're making a crop sweater that's built flat, worked vertically, and finished with a tall mock neck with a zip closure. Absolutely perfect for those chilly nights. If you're new here, welcome. I share cozy modern crochet content every Sunday and Wednesday. So tell a friend, tap the bell, and subscribe so you never miss an upload. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up or 2 thumbs down if you don't. Either way, it helps keep these tutorials free. Any category for yarn will work. I used a total of 375 grams, that's 675 yards, along with a 6mm hook and a 6-inch closed-end zipper. Pattern link below, use code TCDDIY for a discount on orders over $9.99. Stay to the end for this week's pattern giveaway. We're using 3 stitches for this project. They're on screen now, pause to check it out. This tutorial is made for a size small, but you can adjust it for your size, and we'll explain how to in the video. So without further ado, here's how to crochet your own cropped half-zip sweater. Getting the sweater started, we're kicking things off with the full height of the sweater, including the bottom band. We're all going to grab our category 4 yarn, make a slip knot. Then our 6mm hook. And we're all going to start with the foundation single crochet row. Start with a chain 2. This is going to need to be an even stitch count that matches your total desired length from hem to shoulder. For the foundation single crochet row, we're going to insert our hook into that first chain that we made, inserting underneath that front loop and that back bump at the same time. We should get 2 strands plus our loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through just the 2 strands to get 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through that first loop, that forms the chain for our foundation single, then yarn over, pull through 2 per usual, and that is our first complete stitch. And the next is the same idea. Into that first chain that we made, insert your hook underneath that front loop and back loop at the same time to get 2 strands and a loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the 2 strands to get 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 1 to form that chain, then single crochet per usual, so yarn over and pull through 2 to get 2 single crochets. Now we're currently working on the front panel shoulder. This foundation single crochet row includes the ribbed bottom band, so make sure you're measuring from where you want the sweater to hit, so waist or full length, all the way up to the shoulder, ending on an even number of stitches. Now mine's a total of 46 stitches. That comes to about 13.5 inches or 34 centimeters since I want mine a little bit more on the crop side. And just make sure you're writing down the amount of stitches that you made for yours, because we are going to need that number just to double check things as we go, and also for the back panel. And as we're working, just take note that the front of these solid single crochet rows is going to be the front of our piece. Now we're actually starting at the bottom of the piece, so the tail end is going to be at the top, so where our shoulder is. We're all going to place a stitch marker into any odd number stitch from the hook that matches the height that we'd like for the bottom band to be. So I'd like for my bottom band to be just about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. So counting from the first stitch, I inserted my stitch marker into the 9th stitch from my hook. And that is going to be the constant height that I have for the bottom band. Now we're all going to work front post single crochets until we reach our stitch marker. So chain 1 and flip. Now working our front post singles, we're going to find our second single crochet from our previous row. We want to make sure that we're not working into the edge because we want the bottom to be nice and blunt. So finding that second single crochet, bring your hook underneath the body of that stitch and through the other side. Now we're just going to single crochet per usual. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So same as a normal single, just inserting your hook into a different spot. To do the next one, find the body of that next single crochet. Underneath the body and through the other side. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And keep working our front post singles until we have the same amount of stitches that we blocked off. So for me, that's going to be 9 or until we reach our stitch marker. And just double check and make sure that you write down the amount of stitches that you blocked off for your bottom band as well, because that stitch count is never going to change for the entirety of the piece. Go ahead and bring your stitch marker into the top of this stitch. Then we're going to do our single crochet mesh stitch. So just into that next stitch, insert with a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and single crochet into the next. And that's going to be the rest of the row sequence for this row. So chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet into the next until you reach the end of the row. We should all end with the same amount of stitches as foundation single crochets that we made. Then for the next row, chain 1 and flip, then just 1 single crochet in through every stitch and chain space until we reach our stitch marker. Then we're going to do the bottom band, because remember, that's always going to be the same. And once we're worked into the top of that last single crochet right before our stitch marker, we're now going to do front post singles. So take out your stitch marker, underneath the body of that next single crochet from our last row, insert with our first front post single. Don't forget to insert your stitch marker into there, and continue with our same front post singles as the previous row until we have the same amount of stitches that we blocked off for the bottom band. So for me, that's a total of 9 front post singles. Now that we have the same amount of stitches, we should be left with this little ledge that we have at the end of the row. We're going to even out that row by doing just a regular single crochet into the top of that last stitch. Now that single crochet isn't actually going to count as a stitch. That's kind of just there to even out the bottom row. So we're not going to count that as a stitch. Now a quick heads up. After the first 2 or 3 rows, the fabric may start to shrink slightly, and that's going to be from the front post single crochets. So throughout the work, just keep checking your length. If it does happen, you can either block it back to size at the very end, or you can go back and add more stitches to your foundation single crochet row to make it a little bit longer in total. From here, we're going to chain 1, flip our work, and repeat. So doing the front post singles, remember, whenever we're working our way up, we never want to work into the edge of that stitch. So that regular single crochet that we did, not working into there. Into the first post stitch from our last row. Insert with a single. As you guys can see, we have a clean line along the bottom, and just front post single to reach our stitch marker. Then mesh stitch all the way up. Then after that, single crochet all the way down, ending with front post singles like we just did together. Now we're going to continue this 2-row sequence. So ribbing, mesh stitch row, then solid single crochet, ends with ribbing until we work 2 inches from the tip of our shoulder until we reach the side of the edge of our neck. It is important that we end right after an odd number row, so that is along the bottom, and that's so that the pattern aligns correctly for everyone. And just make sure that we're keeping track of our row counts, the number of stitches, and mainly the ribbing stitches, because this is all going to be mirrored for the back panel as well. But once when our shoulder is complete, we can now get started on the neckline shaping. So I have a total of 27 rows. This width, just about 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters. Now we're going to start by placing a stitch marker into any even numbered stitch from the top that's nearest to the base of our neck, and that's going to mark where the neckline is going to begin. So put this up to ourselves, pick a spot that feels nice and comfortable, balance when it's worn, and that's going to help guide the curve for the neckline. So I went ahead and inserted my stitch marker into the 8th stitch from the top. That's just about 2 inches or 5 centimeters. Then we're just going to work our ribbing mesh stitch row until we reach the stitch marker. So same exact way that we've been doing our rows this whole time. Then once we hit our stitch marker, we're going to stop, chain 1, turn our work. Then single crochet all the way down, maintaining the ribbing for the bottom band, exactly the same way that we've been doing this whole time. And we're just working these shorter rows to help us shape the neckline. And this is going to help us move towards the center of our chest. Then we're going to repeat this 2-row repeat, same exact way that we did the shoulder, is just a little bit shorter, until we now reach the center of our chest. And this is working the neckline, so keep your tension smooth and counts consistent. We're going to need to end on an odd number row as well. And make sure you're writing down the amount of rows for this section and stitches as well, just to make it easier to double check when we work the other side. Neckline complete. Now we're going to connect both sides of the neckline with our 1 middle row. Just to let y'all know, I have a total of 37 rows. My width is just about 9 inches or 23 centimeters, and our middle row is just going to be the next row in our row sequence. But first, we're going to add a slit. So start by placing a stitch marker into any even numbered stitch from the top of that last row, marking the depth of your desired neckline. You can make this as long or as short as you want. Mine's going to be roughly 2 inches or 5 centimeters deep, so I just inserted my stitch marker into the 10th stitch. And just make sure you write down this number for the other side of our neckline that we're about to start. Next, we're going to work our ribbing and mesh stitch row up until we reach our stitch marker. Now this creates the first half of the neckline curve. The second side is actually going to mirror this side exactly. So we're halfway through with our front panel. Once when the middle row is complete, we're going to build the second side of the neckline to match the first. We're going to start by making a chain for the same amount of stitches that we skipped right before we started this middle row. So for those that have my numbers, I skipped 10 stitches. So on this side, I made a chain 10. Then the following row is our single crochet row. So block off that last chain and chain 1. Into that chain that we blocked off, or the second chain from our hook, insert with a single crochet, then work our single crochets all the way down our chain, then also all the way down our stitches, closing out the row with our front post singles. Then the next row in our row sequence, which is our ribbing, then our mesh stitch row all the way to the top. Now repeat this 2-row sequence, so single crochet with ribbing, then mesh with ribbing for the same number of rows as the first neckline side. Then after your final row, just check your notes one more time, making sure that we have the same amount of rows as our first neckline portion. If you want, you can even fold your work in half, making sure that the neckline is roughly the same width as the first one. Everything should be looking nice. I now have a total of 48 rows. My width is now 12 inches or 30 centimeters. Now we're going to check our notes again, and we're going to make a chain for the same number of stitches that we skipped when we got started on our neckline. So for those of you that have my numbers, I skipped a total of 8 stitches. So from where we're at, chain that exact number. This is going to complete the top edge and mirrors the first side perfectly. Now just repeat this 2-row sequence, which is the same 2-row sequence that we've been doing this entire time. Then after that, we are going to cut. And once we've completed the final row, stop and admire your work. The entirety of my front panel is completed. My width is now 19.5 inches or 49 centimeters. And now for the back, it's going to be the same. We're repeating the same stitch pattern and row count as the front panel, but without the neckline shaping. So it's just a clean rectangle from hem to shoulder with the same built-in ribbing at the bottom for the full width of the back panel all the way across. Reference your front panel notes if you guys need to. Same amount of stitches, same amount of rows. Now the back panel should match the front panel perfectly. And the sweater is really going to start taking shape now, so let's start by putting the sweater together. So place our front panel on top of our back panel, making sure that the solid single crochet rows face in on each other. Start by placing our hook in through the top corner stitches of both the front and back panel. We're going to pull through and chain 1 just to secure. And now it's going to be a single crochet seam working in through both panels at the same time. So just find the first top loop within the front panel, insert, same top loop within the back panel, insert, and single crochet everything together. Just once more, top loop within the front, next top loop within the back, and single until we don't have any more side rows left to work into within the front panel. Then cut and repeat on the other side. Shoulders seamed up. We're going to do another single crochet seam for the sides. So making sure our work is still flipped wrong side out. We're going to try our piece on and insert a stitch marker into any stitch for the width that we'd like for the sleeve to be. For a comfy sleeve, I'd suggest roughly 2 inches beneath our underarm for a comfy fit, which is what we're going to do. So I went ahead and inserted my stitch marker into the 23rd stitch from the top. That's just about 7 inches or 18 centimeters. Now we're going to single crochet seam until we reach our stitch marker. So insert your hook into the bottom corner stitch of both the front and the back panel. And kind of like how we did the shoulders, but a little bit easier because we have actual stitches to work into, we're going to find that first stitch into the front panel, first stitch into the back, single crochet both sides together. And that's pretty much it. We're going to continue working our single crochet seam till we reach our stitch marker. We officially have a wearable sweater. But now let's go ahead and build those sleeves. So we're going to flip our work so that all the seams are now along the inside. Now before we start, we're going to visualize. We're going to start by making this foundation single crochet row. It is going to be attached to the body, but it will be done exactly the same way as the foundation single crochet row that we did for both the front and the back panels. So we're going to make an even numbered foundation single crochet row that matches the desired sleeve length, so it can be short, 3/4, full length, and that will include the cuff as well, just like our body. So when our work is flipped right side out, insert your hook into the stitch that's nearest to our side seam within the armhole. Then we're going to chain 2, so that is per usual as our foundation single crochet row. I'd like my sleeve to be just about 3/4, that is including my cuff. So I'm starting by making a foundation single crochet of 38. That's just about 10 inches or 25 centimeters. And a quick side note, same rules apply as the body. The sleeve may shrink down just a little bit, but if that's the case, go ahead and add more to your foundation single crochet row now, or you can always block it afterwards. And also let me know if you've ever worked a foundation single crochet row off of something instead of just making it stand alone. And after the length of our sleeve, we're still going to insert our stitch marker into an odd number stitch from the outer edge for the length that we'd like for the cuff to be. Mine, just like the body, is 2 inches, so I inserted mine into the 9th stitch from the outer edge. Then we're going to do our front post singles. Once we reach our stitch marker, mesh stitch until we reach the end of the row. So this is going to be done exactly the same way as the body. And when we've made our way down to the end of the row, we are going to connect it into the base. Really, the connecting into the base is the only difference than the body. And when we connect the single crochet row to the armhole, we want to make sure that the front of the single crochet row will be seen once when the piece is worn to match the texture of the front and back panel. So what we're going to do is just count up that next available stitch into the base. Slip stitch in through there, yarn over, pull through everything, and that slip stitch doesn't actually count as a stitch, that's just to anchor down this even numbered row. Then we are going to work our way up to the following row as well. So slip stitch up that next stitch into the base. That slip stitch basically acts as our turning chain, doesn't actually count as a stitch. Flip our work, and just like the body, we're going to do a single crochet row. So making sure we're not working into any of those slip stitches into the base, into the top of that first stitch from our previous row, single crochet all the way down, closing off the row with our front post singles. And that is it for the sleeve. And just repeat the process all the way up and over. Then we can seam it together using the same single crochet seam that we did for the sides. So to do that, flip our work wrong side out so that all the seams are now along the outside. And the same single crochet seam that was done for the sides, just put one single crochet in through both panels at the same time. And since we did jot down all these numbers, we can go ahead and repeat everything on the other side. So last on our crochet to-do list is the collar. This tall, stretchy rib collar will frame the neckline and house the zipper. We're going to start with a single crochet row that helps anchor everything down. This is going to start with our work flipped right side out, so our seams are along the inside. Then place your hook into the top corner stitch of the front panel's neckline. Then from corner all the way up and around to corner, a single crochet row. It's going to be one single crochet into every side row, one single crochet into every stitch until we reach the next corner. Single crochet row is complete. I did cut. Now from here, we're going to make a chain the length that we'd like for the collar to be. Now since I will be adding a zipper, I'm just going to place my zipper down at the base to see how long I need my chain to be. Then insert our hook into that first chain that we made and just make a chain that reaches the top of our zipper hardware. Now I went ahead and already measured mine out. I need roughly 3 inches or 9 centimeters, so I'm going to start by making a chain 12. Now time for a slip stitch row. Block off that last chain and chain 1, that's our turning chain. Into the second chain from our hook, we're going to insert into that back bump with a slip stitch. So into that second chain, into the back bump, insert, then gently yarn over and pull through everything on our hook. That's our first slip stitch. After every slip stitch, make sure we're not tugging after we pull all the way through. That could be a habit, but don't do that for this row, otherwise the slip stitch rows could shrink and make the following rows a little bit more difficult. So into that next chain's back bump, insert with a slip stitch and work our way all the way down our chain. Now the connection for this slip stitch row is going to be the same connection that we did for the sleeve. So into that next stitch into the base, insert with a slip stitch. That slip stitch doesn't actually count as a stitch, that's just to connect. Then to work our way up to the following row, slip stitch up that next stitch into the base. Again, same way that we did our sleeves. Flip our work and now back loop slip stitches into every stitch to get that ribbed texture. So into that last stitch from our previous row, not working into any of those slip stitches, insert with one back loop slip stitch, pull through everything. And that's pretty much it for the collar. Keep working our back loop slip stitches till we reach the end of the row. Then chain 1, flip our work, back loop slip all the way back down and connect it into the base the same way that we've been doing this entire time. Then just continue working until we don't have any more stitches into the base left to work into. Our collar is completed. Now we're ready for the finishy touches like the zipper. Now adding the zipper is going to complete the entirety of our mock neck. So we're going to take our zipper and align it with the opening of the neckline right where the collar begins. We want to make sure that it's centered and evenly spaced using stitch markers or pins to hold it down in place if you need. Now we're going to sew the zipper into the edge of the opening using any technique that you're comfortable with. I'm going to use a running stitch first with my same colored yarn and a tapestry needle. I'm going to make sure that I go slow and steady using small stitches, making sure that the single crochet row for the neckline aligns on both sides. Then just to clean up the edges, I'm going to go in with some black thread and a needle. Once we've secured everything, go ahead and do a zip test. Admire your work and your sweater is officially complete. We've built the coziest custom fit zip up masterpiece from start to finish. And there you have it, your very own cropped half zip sweater. This is the cutest thing ever, and I am so excited with how this turned out, and I can't wait to see your versions. If you make your own, don't forget to post it in the community tab. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What colors would you use to make this piece? Drop your comments down below because I am always so inspired by your answers. Now enter this week's pattern giveaway for our off-the-shoulder batwing top and suspender skirt by answering what's your favorite season and why. Mine would have to be fall, so I am very excited right now. Now, if you guys love this tutorial, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a pattern. We drop fresh content every Sunday and Wednesday. And thank you guys so much for crocheting with us today. Happy hooking, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!